Business confidence in Jamaica is growing, and this is proof that the government's economic growth plan is bearing fruit. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. In the show today, strategic priority number 2 looks at the divestment of the Kingston Container Terminal, and later, keeping our children healthy through vaccination. Please stay tuned. We return with all this and so much more right after the news.
Measles, mumps, and rubella are potentially dangerous childhood diseases. Parents, ensure your children get the MMR vaccine to protect them. The first shot should be given when children are between 12 and 15 months old, and another before they start school. Women of childbearing age should also ensure they get the MMR vaccine, as they could transmit dangerous conditions to their children if infected while pregnant. To know more, visit your nearest clinic or health center or contact the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Andrea Chizom, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, April 22. Jamaica's $1 billion food import bill was cut by 4.5% last year. In real terms, this is a $43.6 million or 5 billion Jamaican dollar reduction. Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Derek Kelly made the disclosure during his sectoral presentation on Tuesday. He said the deliberate efforts to increase food production in the agri-parks could be credited for the decline. Infrastructure work on those agri-parks will continue this fiscal year to take advantage of the export potential of Jamaican produce and reduce the need to import.
For the 2015-2016 year, we project the involvement of over 300 more farmers, 5 major buyers, and the establishment of 120 hectares, yielding some 2,400 tons, or 20% of the imports.
Irish potato, sugarcane, banana, and plantain are among the crops that recorded growth in 2014. And the Agriculture Minister has announced plans to deal with the importation of refined sugar. He says the ministry will not allow the commodity to be leaked into the local retail trade, undermine or raw sugar production, and rob the government of much-needed revenue.
We are therefore pushing ahead with the restructuring of the regime for the importation of refined sugar, including the imposition of a cess to fund the transformation of the sector. This imposition of a cess is also intended to level the playing field, since all of the sugar consumed in Jamaica is subject to a cess.
Minister Kelly says this decision was reached after consultation and support from the sugar industry. Last year, the sector recorded an increase of over 20% in sugar production, which was supported by a 27% expansion in sugarcane cultivation. There are plans to replicate or improve that performance this year.
We propose to spend over $700 million to rehabilitate some 80 kilometers of roads in all cane-growing areas of Jamaica. We will train an additional 600 persons, including young people, at a cost of $122 million, and we'll also complete an additional 80 social infrastructure projects in sugar-dependent areas in this financial year at a cost of some $273.4 million.
Government has now signed the non-binding Memorandum of Understanding MOU to pave the way for a possible $5 billion investment in the logistics hub. The MOU was reportedly signed on Tuesday by the Ministers of Industry and Transport and Quark Systems and the Anchor Finance Group LLC. A release from the Industry Ministry says the MOU signing came about from an unsolicited expression of interest to the government. The expression of interest is a comprehensive funding and development package to allow for the build-out of various elements of the Global Logistics Hub initiative. A joint team will be named from the Transport and Industry Ministries to begin discussions with Quark Systems and the Anchor Finance Group about their proposal. The group has 30 days to give government feedback on any procurement issues which may arise. Government has moved a step closer to implementing the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. A final feasibility study report, other reports and preliminary designs for the project have been submitted to the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing by consultant Stanley Consultants Incorporated.
We are far advanced in identifying concessionary funding.
The Portfolio Minister made the announcement during his sectoral presentation on Tuesday. The highway will be done in 2 phases, starting with Segment 1, which runs from Harbourview to Port Antonio. Segment 2 is from Negril to Mandeville.
The priority is to do Section 1, Harbourview to Port Antonio, but starting with Harbourview to Morant Bay. When we've done that, then the whole of Jamaica will be linked by modern highways.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security will be introducing a workers' passport by September 2015 as part of efforts to streamline Jamaica's occupational safety and health program. Portfolio Minister Derek Kelly says the document will be introduced in the construction industry. It will prove that workers on work sites participated in a 5-hour training program in occupational safety and health.
These passports will be the warranty that the workers are competent and equipped to operate safely on work sites. They will also indicate that these workers are competitive in an economy capable of operating at the highest standards in the international labour market.
He says the introduction of the workers' passport is in preparation for the passage of the Occupational Safety and Health Bill in this legislative year. While making his sectoral presentation, Minister Kelly also revealed that one aspect of the labour market information system will be expanded in June of this year. It's the Labour Market Intelligence and Skills Bank component.
This component will enable the ministry to provide services to the public through web pages dedicated solely to labour market intelligence, education and training, career development, and the maintenance of an employer and investor skills bank.
And finally, the Office of the Children's Registry OCR is urging the public to tell the police what they know about the circumstances surrounding the death of a 23-month-old child in St. Elizabeth. On the weekend, the child Jaylene Mars of Gosmond District was reportedly found dead by relatives in a barrel after being unaccounted for over 5 hours. Describing the incident as troubling, the OCR is calling on parents and caregivers to ensure that every child in their care is supervised at all times. Jamaicans are also being reminded to report all cases of known or suspected missing or abused children to the registry. And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Thank you for watching.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
The Kingston Container Terminal has been operating for 40 years, and with the planned expansion of its facilities and services ensuring economic growth, the terminal is sure to be around for years to come.
Government is on a mission to transform the Jamaican economy and create jobs by developing a logistics-centered economy. How will this be done? By further integrating the island into the global value chain with the implementation of the Logistics Hub initiative. With plans to position Jamaica as the 4th node in the global logistics chain, government is intent on taking full advantage of the increased trade opportunities expected from the expansion of the Panama Canal. Activities have been kicked into higher gear with the recent signing of a concession agreement to expand the Kingston Container Terminal.
This is a major development which will have significant benefits for the country's development and is an important component for the logistics hub.
On April 7, 2015, after years of arduous negotiations, the government of Jamaica, through the Port Authority, inked a 30-year concession agreement to finance, expand, operate, and transfer the Kingston Container Terminal. The $510 million deal was signed with French container shipping group Terminal Link CMA CGM.
Greater private sector involvement by way of investments in the expansion of major infrastructure, such as our seaports and airports, is a major plank of our economic growth strategy. That strategy is geared toward achieving greater levels of economic growth to produce more high-quality jobs and business opportunities.
It's really what we intend to do with you in Jamaica. It's a global partnership. It's a win-win partnership.
The concession agreement lays the groundwork for the greater movement of goods and services while increasing employment and training for Jamaicans.
The benefits of this agreement are that Kingston will remain a leading regional and international transportation port for the foreseeable future in partnership with one of the top-tier GTOs, global terminal operators.
The agreement paves the way for the dredging and expansion of the KCT in 2 phases.
What will Jamaica benefit from in phase 1? Improve infrastructure.
Phase 1 of the project consists of the deepening of the navigational access channel, the turning circle for the vessels, and quays to allow access to the 12,500 TEUs vessels with a 14.2 meter draft at the beginning, and in phase 2 that will become a 15.5 meter draft.
For the Kingston Container Terminal employees, most of whom will be re-employed, they will be exposed to the best-in-class technologies and techniques. For the PAJ can itself now more effectively manage its debt obligations and is in a better position to finance the program of work to further enhance the competitiveness of the maritime sector.
The negotiations have been long, but I do believe that our major objectives have been accomplished. 1, we have a global terminal operator linked with a major container shipping line, which are leaders in their field. Secondly, we'll have a multi-user port, and there are clear virtues that any legitimate shipping line can participate and utilize the facilities. Thirdly, the cost of dredging will be assumed by the concessionaire, freeing the government from this financial obligation.
With the agreement now signed, the new concessionaire will be operating in Jamaica as Kingston Freeport Terminal, and the deepening of the navigational access is to begin immediately.
We like Jamaica because there is governance in this country. There is security in this country, and it is an equitable environment for employees and employers.
We will be continuing our efforts to improve the business climate, adding to recent major improvements on our global ranking as a place where it is easy to do business and as the best place in the Caribbean to do business.
Jamaica is now well on its way to getting maximum benefits from its strategic location for the advancement of its people.
The Flexi Work Week arrangements provide an opening for employers and employees to create a mutually productive work environment. Get the details right now.
On March 25, 2014, the Employment Flexible Work Arrangements Miscellaneous Provisions Act was tabled in Parliament. It sets out to amend provisions relating to hours and days of work in several pieces of legislation to facilitate the implementation of flexible working arrangements in Jamaica. The end goal? To position the country's labor market to take advantage of investments and other economic opportunities. Flexi Work is an alternate arrangement or schedule from the traditional Monday to Friday 9 to 5 working day or week. In principle, it allows individual employees and employers more room to choose when they start and end the workday or even which day of the week to work.
So it could be that a person could be starting at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or it could be that the hours you work could be 8, it could be 10, it could be 12. Days of the week would no longer have to be just Monday to Friday. You could choose.
But does this mean that everyone will be on a Flexi Work system once the law is changed?
Flexible work arrangement is not for everybody, and we must emphasize that. So it's not going to be that every company will implement flexible work arrangements. Every company has to assess whether this will work in my particular organization, having regard to what I actually do as a business.
Since Flexi Work will not suit every organization, you might ask, what if I want to work flexible days and hours and the company I work for is not implementing it?
Well, flexible work arrangements, it's all about negotiation. The employer cannot force the worker to implement flexi work and to work flexi hours. The worker cannot force the employer to implement flexi work. It has to be discussion and agreement between the parties.
And what of those who would seek to implement it without negotiation?
If you choose to vary that contract, the worker can institute proceedings for breach of contract. And the same goes for the employer too if the worker tries to vary it without the agreement. Because right now, persons are under existing contracts of employment, which sets out their terms and their days of rest.
When the bill is passed, the Ministry of Labour will be monitoring all complaints, so persons who find themselves in this situation should report the matter to the Ministry's Pay and Conditions of Employment branch, and there is an office in each parish. Over 20 pieces of legislation are to be amended to facilitate the implementation of flexible work arrangements. The amendments will specify that the work week should consist of 40 hours and that overtime is to be computed after the employee has completed 40 hours of work. That means for those opting for Flexi Week, overtime will not begin after an 8-hour workday, but only when you have worked beyond your 40-hour work week. The bill will also increase the number of hours in a workday from 8 or 10 hours to a maximum of 12 hours, reflect that all 7 days of the week should be considered as possible working days, and make it lawful for women to work at night.
Well, the organization would now not be restricted in opening hours. They'd have more freedom to choose the opening hours that would best suit their needs, so they can increase their productivity and also their profits. The individual will be able to more balance work life with family life, could choose the work arrangements which would best actually mesh with their family obligations, like picking up children. And also they could earn more because it would allow you to choose to work for different people to actually get more money. For the nation, of course, if the businesses are actually producing more, individuals are actually earning more, employment has increased, and it will spell well for the nation.
Persons can choose from a range of flexi work options. One option allows for working part-time hours and still earning benefits such as vacation and sick leave. Flexible time allows individuals and businesses to vary the start and end time of each workday. Persons can also telecommute, essentially working from a location other than the office, such as your home. And then there is the compressed work week. This is where you work your 40 hours over a 3 to 4 day period. But be careful not to fall below the threshold of 110 days worked to qualify for vacation leave entitlement.
A person who works for 3 days would have only worked for 156 days in the year. So they would still get vacation leave because they've passed the threshold of 110, but under the holidays with pay order. To obtain vacation leave of 2 weeks, you have to work under the statute for 220 days. So that gets you closer to somebody who works for 4 days for the week, for example.
And since all 7 days will be regarded as work days, what will pertain to working on public holidays?
The Flexi Work Arrangements Bill will not change any provisions we public general holidays and the payment of overtime to those workers. Persons under minimum wage will still be entitled to double time for working on holidays, and persons who work in shops. Other persons who are not minimum wage earners who don't work in shops, your contract will still govern how you are paid overtime, because that was always the case.
We are not about taking away people's rights. We are about trying to ensure that we organize work in such a way that Jamaica can be competitive.
And what we need to do is to ensure that we don't delay any further, so we can take full advantage of the opportunities being offered to us for growth, development and prosperity.
So there is nothing to prevent any company today from looking at their operations, looking at their markets, and making a determination as to what is the best production fit for their business.
In the meantime, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security continues to invite national input with public forums and education campaigns.
Flexi Work Week arrangement should provide an opportunity for the working population to create more balanced lives. Work-life balance is integral to achieving happiness and success, as it means that you are catering to all aspects of your life: the physical, the intellectual, the emotional, and of course, the spiritual. So, how can you achieve this balance? Start by taking control and responsibility for the type of life that you want to lead. If you don't design your life, someone or something else will design it for you. Be realistic. You will not achieve work-life balance overnight, and neither can you allow yourself to fall into the trap of, "I live my best life when I retire." A day is too short, and "after I retire" is too long. You need to find the middle ground. In all things, we should not discount the fact that the small things matter. Achieving balance doesn't mean a dramatic upheaval in your life. With the smallest investment in the right places, you can radically transform the quality of your relationships and the quality of your life. Moreover, this approach can transform society. If enough people do it, we can change society's definition of success and what constitutes a well-lived life.
So time is money.
Easy, driver. Well, no minimum man and taxi driver drive so bad.
Why him have to drive so hard? Me not gonna make you kill off me and me picnic them.
One stop driver. Make her come off this bus. Me say stop.
Me coming with you. The rest of you not take chance on your life. Lord of mercy. That could have been us.
And look how we want the money.
Passengers, your safety is in your hands. Say one-stop driver and get off if the driver is speeding, overtaking recklessly, and not obeying the rules of the road. Don't give away your life. It is too precious.
A healthy population equals a more productive one. That is the reason we need to ensure that our children get a good start to tackle diseases and infections through vaccination.
Picture the world without vaccines. There would be widespread epidemics, unstoppable diseases, and death. Thanks to vaccines, we are able to protect ourselves. Vaccines are medicines, but unlike those that cure or treat diseases, they prevent them. Jamaica has long been engaged in this preventive mode of healthcare, even enacting laws to enforce compliance.
Jamaica has had a very robust, expanded program on immunization, which has allowed us to have very high coverages for our vaccines.
Since the country's first expanded program of immunization in 1977, Jamaica has eradicated and eliminated many serious diseases. The country had its last case of polio in 1982, the last case of locally transmitted measles in 1991, diphtheria in 1995, and rubella or German measles in 2000. The last case of newborn tetanus was in 2001. Still, this is no reason to let down our guard, as many countries still have annual cases and outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases such as measles, which can spread through international travel and tourism.
Jamaica is a well-established tourist destination, and so we have to remain vigilant in terms of the introduction of diseases into the country, and therefore do all that we can to reduce any possible impact on our population.
In early 2015, a measles outbreak in nearby United States highlighted this need to remain vigilant. In response, the Health Ministry launched a multi-million-dollar measles prevention campaign in February, It targets 195,000 children island-wide, ages 1 through to 6, in 3 phases.
Phase 1 will target children attending clinics at the health centers for routine immunization services such as the 18 months booster doses. Phase 2 will seek to capture children at the basic infant primary schools and daycare centers. And Phase 3 will focus on targeted community outreach for those who were not immunized in Phase 1 and 2.
The campaign, which runs from February 16 to May 8, primarily involves procuring and administering additional doses of the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine.
We will be going into communities to ensure that the children that we have not as yet seen in the health centers or in the schools, that they are immunized.
Children who may have missed their complete MMR doses or any other compulsory vaccines available in the public health sector will be given them during the campaign. The current 3-phase immunization campaign is running concurrently in all parishes.
All our health facilities, type 3s and above, are now designated daily vaccination sites from Monday to Friday during normal opening hours. So parents would need to bring, for children born before 2010, their immunization cards. But we implemented in 2010 the Child Health Development Passport, which have the immunization record. And once they take those, the public health team, which is usually either the public health nurse or the midwife within the clinic, would check, see what vaccines the child would be eligible for, and administer same.
Everyone in the targeted population will be vaccinated unless they can provide documented proof that they have received the completed doses of the MMR vaccine and any other compulsory vaccine. The Ministry of Health has taken the decision to offer the completed dosage of MMR vaccinations earlier. Children born July 2013 and after are now offered the booster dose of the MMR vaccine at 18 months old instead of 4 to 6 years.
It therefore requires that those children who would be 2 and 3 years old, and in the previous schedule they would be getting their vaccine at 4 to 6 years old. All of those children would be among the group that we need to immunize now.
Under the country's 1986 Public Health Act, all children should be fully vaccinated by their first birthday and get booster shots after that. And all children under the age of 7 must be adequately vaccinated for their age prior to entry to school, which includes nursery and daycare facilities.
It is the duty of every parent to have their child immunized.
Failure to comply with the regulations can result in prosecution in a court of law. The regulations only allow for exemption from vaccination based on medical reasons and not on religious or philosophical beliefs. Prevention is better than cure. Vaccinate today and reduce the risk of infection from potentially dangerous vaccine-preventable diseases.
For more information about JIS and its programs, continue to tune into our YouTube channel and JIS website. Share your thoughts on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Don't forget that you can download the JIS News app for your smartphone. That's our show for today. I'm Adrian Atkinson. On behalf of the hard-working production team at the JIS, continue to strive for balance in your daily activities.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.